Welcome everybody to anticipated releases for the month of October of 2021. My name is Nick.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Travis, baby.
And this month is, not gonna lie, pretty big month. So we each picked a handful of games to talk about. Some of them are gonna be quick and rapid fire. I know we always say that. We really do mean it this time. But I think Mike has a pretty awesome game to start out with. Mike, what do you want to talk about?
NHL 22, baby!
You always make me do this. I hate you for this.
All new hockey physics and maybe, I don't know.
I'll be honest, I didn't even see a sport game on there. I can't believe you saw it.
Of course, dude. That's like the first thing I look for is what sport game of the month is coming out this time. No, I'm actually going to start with Guardians of the Galaxy. It's funny, like, looking at this, and we were kind of talking about this before. You know, Square Enix, the last time they made a Marvel-related game, it didn't end so well. I think the only thing most of us are probably focused on. Marvel Avengers is the one I'm referencing, if you guys are not aware. It was not the ideal game. It was pretty boring and repetitive. I don't know how this game plays. Like, I look at gameplay of it, and it definitely looks different. But I also get the vibe that it's going to feel the same in terms of being repetitive. Just looking at the gameplay, like, I mean, I guess it's cool because there are parts where you can choose dialogue options for Star-Lord and whatever. You know, it's kind of just whatever. Every game does that at this point. But I don't know. I mean, the gameplay seemed interesting to me. I mean, it kind of seemed basic, at least from what I saw. I mean, you got your gun and you could do shooty shoots and, you know, melee combat and all kinds of different things. But I mean, I didn't really see anything that like stood out to me as like, oh my god, this is what I need to play, the way that like Deathloop did, for example, with like, you know, time and, you know, respawning and moving back and forth and all that. I didn't like see anything special about Guardians of the Galaxy. It really does, and it scares me to say this because I love Guardians of the Galaxy. It really does feel like a cash grab to me. It feels like they're like, oh, people like the Guardians, let's make a video game about it. Because that's exactly what happened with Avengers. Like, you can do so many cool things with the Avengers, and they did what they did, which was sad. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping that this game is going to end up being good, and, you know, I would almost rather play this than the Avengers game, because I really enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy. But, you know, I think it'll depend. It seems interesting and okay, but I learned to not get my hopes up for stuff like this, so we'll see. You know, hopefully Square Enix learned from Avengers, and I know they made changes to that game to make it a little more easy to play. I never went back to it, but I heard it got better. It didn't, not to the extent that like No Man's Sky did, but I heard that Avengers got a little more playable. But I'm hoping that like they learned and they do make changes. But gameplay wise, I kind of get similar vibes that it's just going to be go here, fight, move somewhere else, fight more. And I kind of hope it doesn't end up like that, because that's what made Avengers so unplayable. So we'll see. But you know, I'm up. I want it to be good, but I'm holding back because I learned my lesson last time.
Yeah,
It's so weird too, because you look at things like Spider-Man for PS4 and like the Miles Morales one for, I think that was for PS4 as well, and PS5, and like superhero games can be really freaking good. You have a lot to work with. Creating something that generic is really disappointing too, because it seems like it's one of those things where they didn't really put a lot of thought into the gameplay and making the game really fun. It's just looking at a title and it's like, little Timmy's gonna really love this game, and it's just like, well, not really. I mean, kids can tell when games aren't really that fun or whatnot. Like, they can tell. I'm with you. I'm not going to get my hopes up either for this one. I do think it's a really big release it's worth talking about, but there wasn't anything when I saw the gameplay that made it look, I don't know, less generic. Like, the Spider-Man PS4 game actually had a lot of depth in the combat, and like, it was really, really fun to play. But it's like, this one, shoot, blast, weird block enemies, whatever. Like, they got to show at least something unique. Otherwise, not looking forward to it.
Yeah. In my experience, any game that is based off of a movie is just trash. And if they are trying to base it off of the movies, it will not be great. If they try and do something with it, then it has potential, because Guardians of the Galaxy is funny, so it can have like a Borderlands-like humor, and hopefully the combat is, you know, not smash the button, kill all enemies, run to the next place, smash the button again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Superhero games can sometimes be that way, and
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I kind of expected Spider-Man PS4 to be that way, and I got my ass kicked for doing it right away, and I was like, shit, this game's actually making me think I like it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, I'm going to move on to a couple of mine. These ones are going to be pretty rapid fire because they're games, or one of them's a game that's already out. I guess one of them combined into two. It's Ori the Collection. I want to mention this before, partially because of our boy Matt. Matt actually really liked the Ori games. I played Ori in the Blind Forest and thought it was stellar. I haven't actually played Will of the Wisps yet. That is on my list to try out at some point. But they're really, really fun games. Ori the Collection is pretty much coming with both of the games packaged into one. And to be honest, if you haven't played these games and you're a fan of kind of more fluid Metroidvania kind of games, this is an easy one to recommend. The game I thought was actually going to be fairly easy. I was surprised it had a little more difficulty than I was expecting, which was actually a welcome change. Nothing seemed very given to you at that point. You did have to work through it, so. Highly recommend the Ori games. Matt really loved the Ori games. I think they're fantastic. The worlds are beautiful. What they do with the lighting is incredible. Can't say enough positive things about the Ori games. The other one I want to mention is Jackbox Party Pack 8. They're getting to the really high numbers with the Jackbox games, and I'll be honest, some of the later Jackbox games have only had like one or two games that I really, really enjoyed and liked. And this one, I hate to say it, kind of seems that way, but some of the games do look really fun. In Jackbox Party Pack 8, you get games like Pole Mine, Job, Weapons Drawn, also like Drawful Animate. It looks pretty cool, which is kind of one of the more like advanced takes on Drawful, one of their pretty popular ones. At the time this is going out, I believe we'll have finished like our Jackbox Pentathlon within like a week or a week and a half. So it's a really cool thing to see that there's more Jackbox games being made. If you aren't aware, Jackbox games are ones where they're more centered around pretty much hanging out with your friends and having a good time. They're not really about, I mean, you can make it competitive, you can have bragging rights and try to care about winning, but they're really more about like just trying to make other people laugh, and I think that's always a really fun approach to have when it comes to making a game. They're very unique games as well. They're ones that you can bust out at a party, and even somebody who's never played a Jackbox game before can pretty much jump in and understand it right away. So I really enjoyed the ideas behind the games, if anything, and more of them to try out would always be fun. So if you're looking to try more Jackbox games, Jackbox Party Pack 8 is coming out soon.
Yeah, I'm just hoping there's more than just one really good game, because that seems to always be the thing. It's like one or two of them are good, and then the other three are just garbage. Yeah. So hopefully,
the wheel of enormous proportions sounded so interesting, but I wasn't sure if there's anything that showed like gameplay of it. It just sounds like a really cool name.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll pick it up, and I'm sure we'll play it together. So
at some point, for sure.
Yep. Okay. So one of them that I will be talking about, because it is October, month of horror, Fatal Frame is coming out with a new one. I was looking at some of the gameplay. It looks pretty much like the other ones. You have a picture, or you have a camera, you take pictures of ghosts to make them kind of go away. This time you're in some majestic mountain, or sacred mountain, so there's a lot of spirits that are floating about, and seems like it's going to be following the same Fatal Frame formula. So if you are a Fatal Frame fan, there's a new one coming out, so it could be fun.
Yeah
Sweet. Yeah, I played the original one. I don't think I beat it, but it's so weird playing a horror game like Fatal Frame. Because just like, it's funny because Travis has mentioned in the past about horror games, and like we've discussed how his preference is always games without weapons because, you know, he likes the idea of being vulnerable. I've always liked games with weapons because I feel like then there's more decisions to be made. This game's funny because it like falls in the middle of that, because theoretically you have a weapon, which is your camera, but it's not always useful. You're going to end up in situations where you can't really snap photos, be it the environment or things like that. But it also is a weapon, so it kind of falls in this like weird middle path. You're not really armed, it's a camera, so you still feel vulnerable, but it's enough of a weapon to like, you know, overcome certain enemies and certain bosses. So it's a very interesting feeling horror game. Typical classic like Japanese anime style game where you can play this really in-depth game and also buy a swimsuit for the main character, which is okay. It's, you know, It's kind of a classic thing, I feel like. You see that with, like, Dead or Alive and stuff, too. It's whatever. Take a good game you made and then just put them in bikinis and...
now it's great.
It's Koei Tecmo. It doesn't surprise me at all.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That is totally a them thing to do. But, I mean, I'm excited for this. I'm not sure if I'll pick it up because I haven't played the middle one. And I need to play Fatal Frame 2 first, I feel like. But I'm sure it'll be good. I like these games, and they're interesting. They're a unique type of horror. But, if you're interested in horror, you'll definitely like it.
Yeah, based on the consensus that I've seen from other people, it's that a lot of people were hoping that this game, if it does well, they can remaster the original trilogy. So it seems like those are people who love the OG games for sure that really want this game to do well. But I'll be honest, looking at this from the outside, I feel like this would be a very tough sell if you were trying to get somebody into the genre, or get somebody into the game series. The genre already has a lot of people who are fans of it, but the concept behind this game alone would be like, what are you talking about? It's a horror game. Why are you selling me on the camera being your weapon? It's unique, that's for sure. It looks cool, but I mean, trying to sell somebody on the series, if it doesn't look interesting to them, I feel like would be very tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into my next game. So I usually have a rule where I don't like to talk about remakes of games. I usually try to avoid that. But there's a special one coming out that I am like super into, and that is Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. I don't speak about it much, but like Super Monkey Ball is one of my favorite games. This game was like my childhood. I beat like the beginner, all 3 levels, beginner, intermediate, and expert. Like 1,000 times over. I was so into this game, and I could never beat the extra levels, but no one could. So it was such a joy to play, and so seeing them like make a game that's gonna like basically combine every single Monkey Ball into one is so exciting to me. Because there's so many games, and they're fantastic. Super Monkey Ball Deluxe came out for the GameCube quite a while ago, and that was kind of like a collection of all of them, and you could play like basically all 200 plus levels in a row if you were good enough to, which again most people are not, but which was just kind of a cool feature. And so there's just so many different levels that go into Monkey Ball. For those of you that haven't played it, you're basically like tilting the course and trying to maneuver your monkey into the goalpost, and it's fun because, like I said, some of the levels, and in fact most of the normal levels, are beatable. They get really tough. Then you get to the extra, and you reach some bullshit impossible stuff. Stuff that is like frame perfect time jumps. Some levels are pretty much just straight RNG if you don't like manipulate the timer and get it to the right frame. I've watched speedruns of this game a ton, and even they like will mess up levels over and over because they have to like get it on the perfect frame. And that's scary that a speedrunner that's played level 1,000 times cannot find a consistent way to beat the level. But that's the fun of it, in my opinion. And it kind of reminds me of like a Mario Maker type thing where there's levels all across the spectrum. And so I'm really excited to see them like put a game like this that takes, all of Monkey Ball and kind of puts it into one nice compilation. So obviously I'm going to be picking this up because I've been wanting to play more Monkey Ball, and as at the moment I have to like hook up my GameCube, which isn't that hard. But it'll be really nice to have it on my Switch. And the other cool thing, I guess I should mention some of the new stuff with it, is there's a couple new like game modes that are going into this. So there's some like new mini games. I think some of the cool stuff that I saw was like Golden Banana mode and Dark Banana mode. So it's kind of like normal levels, but the goal is to collect bananas. And it's kind of cool. So like you're just trying to collect a certain amount of bananas. There are some like new competitive modes, like I mentioned. There's a new character, Morgana. So I don't know, a lot of cool and interesting stuff I'm excited for. So, I would like wholly recommend this game for anyone that's interested in like, those puzzle-esque games. I think that's really interesting. And I like I said, I can't say enough amazing things about Super Monkey Ball. So, it's out there if you're interested in that.
The arcadey vibes of Monkey Ball is what usually like attracts me to the game series. I never really played a lot of them when I was growing up, but once we played a little bit more of them, I was like, holy crap, this game series is actually super, super fun. But yeah, I actually, like looking back, actually one of our first videos that actually like really, really did well was actually one of the Monkey Ball 2 videos that we did, which was kind of a shock, but it was really, really cool because like, for a while, like the most recent Monkey Ball game that came out was like that was a new game, was like for the PS Vita, which, not gonna lie, was a pretty good platform for it because like tilt controls are possible and all this stuff. But then, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. This series deserves some more love. I think there should be a new one at some point, but hey, it's Sega, and let's face it, Sega is one of those people that I don't really follow their logic when it comes down to games. So
yeah, but Nick,
I'll roll with the punches for it.
Nick, I don't think you picked up on what I said earlier. I realized.
Oh, I heard
about what?
About the extra character. I heard.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
I heard of I saw so many videos on Twitter and whatnot of the new characters and everything. I'm like, why the hell are they doing this? I love it, but why?
I know it's hilarious. When I saw Morgana pop up, I'm like, and Travis, you too, because I know you played Persona 5. I was like, what the hell is Morgana doing here? That was so funny when I saw that.
I think Tails was also in one of the Monkey Balls too. I can't verify that for sure, but I saw so many weird characters in there. I'm like, are these fan-made renders or is this actually in the game?
Right? It's hilarious. I'm like, I didn't believe that at first. I'm like, it's not super random, I guess, but it was random enough. I'm like, did not see that coming. So that's pretty funny.
I mean, I did see the Sega logo on the Persona 5 box. So anyway, moving on to another game is what am I talking about? Mario Party Superstars. This one, I'm torn. I am very, very torn on this.
Because that's what Super Mario Party should have been in the first place?
Well, I'll get to that. Anyway, to start off, Mario Party Superstars comes with 5 of the classic N64 boards that are completely remastered, and I think they had some really good picks. Peach's Birthday Cake from the N64. They had the space one from Mario Party 2. They had some really good classic boards that were picked, and that pretty much you get to play them online. And I'm sure there's other modes to try out. You can emote during the game. My issue is not with the game, because as a concept is fine, but it's my faith in Nintendo and what the hell they do with a game like this. Because Super Mario Party was, I thought, pretty fun. I thought it was lacking in some features. I thought the boards were kind of small. I thought it had a lot of pretty good ideas. I thought it was fun for what it was. Full price, wouldn't do it again on buying it full price. This one is a full price game. They're not doing new content. A lot of what they've been doing before with the Mario Party games, like the Mario Party Top 100 mini games for 3DS, there's 100 mini games from the classic games that are coming here. The boards aren't new; they just made them with nicer graphics and are allowing you to play them online. They tested the online with Super Mario Party on a free update, which they kind of dropped out of nowhere. It's the game got no support, and then it suddenly got a lot of support, which seemed to be testing the waters to see if it works well for when they create Mario Party Superstars. I'm sure you're all right, Nick, what the fuck are you talking about? It's because I'm so torn on this game. I want to like it. I think it's a great idea. But for only 5 boards and just the incentive to play online, I don't know if I really think it's worth it. I'll be honest. I'm a Nintendo show. I'll probably buy it anyway, and we'll probably end up playing it for the channel. But do I really think it's worth it? As of right now, I don't think it is. So as of right now, I'm in this torn state where I love the idea. It looks super cool. Full price game? Only 5 boards? Really? They're not new. I don't know. I'm really torn on this. If Super Mario Party got more support, if Super Mario Party allowed you to play online before, there's a lot of things that if I saw it happen in Super Mario Party, I'd be oh yeah, I'm in on this. But now I see Mario Party Superstars and I see what they're showing for a release day thing, and I'm do I really think that's worth it? And I don't have faith that they're going to add more stuff afterwards, or maybe bring DLC for additional boards or something. I don't know. Some of my fondest memories of playing the N64 was playing those classic Mario parties, and it will always be burned into my brain. Just permanent memories. But do I really think the nostalgia is big enough for me to get this game? I'm 50-50 on it right now. So I hope it's good, but I don't know. I'm just so torn on this release.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because, I see both sides. I certainly would never complain that they're doing this. Okay, 5 boards, whatever. But I see what you're saying. They released the Mario 3D All-Stars, which was full Mario 64, full Mario Sunshine, and full Mario Galaxy for $60. This is basically Mario Party 1, 2, and 3, but half of those games also for $60. I feel if you're gonna remaster old games and you want to charge full price, there has to be multiple full games in it. And maybe that just sounds like I'm being selfish. I know, like, gamers are so demanding. It's inconsistent, and that's my problem with it.
Agreed.
It just released 3 fully remastered games that were platformers. I could argue that Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine have way more content than a Mario Party game, yet you gave me 3
Agreed.
full of those for $60. So yeah, it's like, why only 5 boards? If they're remakes, and the N64 boards were pretty simple. I mean, the ones today are very simple. I would say they're almost simpler. But it's not like they're like these expansive long boards, and you already have them made, just, convert it over, So, I mean, and if they wanted to do the 5, that's fine. But like you said, I don't think it should be more than like $30, $40.
I agree. And sorry, go on.
No,
I was just saying, I think the common argument is just that this should have been DLC for Super Mario Party. Because if you sold this as like a $20 DLC or something like that, and still let people play online and let them, I don't know, do all their emoting and everything online, I think this would have been an easy sell. But I think they're dipping a little much when it comes down to this game, because I don't think 5 remastered boards and all those mini games are really worth it. So that's just my stance. Like, you can hate on me all you want, but like, for me, being like a diehard Nintendo fan, some of this stuff gets hard to defend, because I think this is valid criticism.
Yeah. Well, and I lost my train of thought. Oh, that's right. I remember now. And it's funny because like this game, coupled with the N64 and Nintendo Switch Online announcement, actually left me kind of sad, because now I'm worried, well, maybe Nintendo's not going to put the Mario Party 1, 2, and 3 on N64 Online, because now I'm not going to be able to play some of those online. Like, I feel like this game is actually crippling the opportunity of playing the old Mario Parties online there, when I'd almost rather just play the old versions online, because then I get all the boards and minigames, and I almost prefer that over a remastered version. So I don't know. Like, I feel like this game doesn't have me excited. It almost has me, like, kind of sad. Like, oh, I'm missing out on all the other boards. So, I don't know. I mean, it's cool, but like you said, and it's just, there's a lot of weird things going on with Nintendo. Like, $60 for this? I don't know about that.
There is a lot of weird things, and I might mention them later. But you know what? We could talk about this one for hours, because let's face it, it's Nintendo, and Nintendo does dumb shit. But god damn, they make fun games. Anyway, who is next? Travis?
I think me.
Mike, who is next? Travis, go.
My next game that I will talk about is yet another horror game, because why not? And this one is the 3rd game in the Dark Pictures Anthology series, House of Ashes. So if you're not familiar with how Dark Pictures works, is you basically make decisions. Depending on your decisions, you either kill yourself or advance to, the story. There's several different endings depending on how many characters you get through. So if you're into that type of thing. And then this one takes place, you are a soldier in Iraq in 2003, and you fall into a dark pit.
Well,
you have to get out of the dark pit.
All right.
They don't even try anymore.
Dark pits. It sucks. I have no idea what kind of spooks they're going to try and throw at you, but it's always an interesting concept. And this one also has multiplayer, and I can tell you right now, I played multiplayer with Mike, it was a little confusing at times. But hopefully they did a little better. We haven't played the second one, so perhaps they improved upon it. But it's an interesting concept, a multiplayer horror game. Hopefully they, like I said, do it a little better. But there's only so much you can talk about with a story, decision thing.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting.
True.
It might be like a little sneak preview for the month, but me and Travis did play Man of Meat in a bit, and like Travis said, it was hilarious in ways that it shouldn't be, because and you'll see this as these videos come out. It's like just the way they organize the story with 2 people, they try to have things going simultaneously with 2 characters. doesn't work out great, and I won't spoil why because again, it's coming up on the channel. But it falls apart very fast. And the thing is too, the stories are never great. So playing alone, I would have hated this. I had a great time because I was playing with Travis, and we just got a shit talk the whole time.
Oh
but
my gosh!
The reality is, yeah, it was awful. Like it just didn't work, and so I don't know if they've learned. You know, like Travis said, because we never played the second one. But it'll be interesting. But man, they just don't seem to try with these. They just seem to pump them out, and we get what we get.
But yeah, it's an experience. So pick it up if you want an experience.
Yep.
Do that.
All right, so I will jump into my last one. Nick earlier made a shout out to Matt with Ori. I'm going to do the same and talk about Far Cry 6. Because, my God, the biggest tragedy on this channel is not having a playthrough of Matt playing Far Cry. The only exception is our multiplayer, which was gold, mind you. But we have no footage of Matt actually playing Far Cry, which is part of the thing that, like, I think kind of led us into making a channel when me and Travis used to watch him at night and be like, man, someone has to watch this guy play Far Cry. And
my
then
God.
we proceeded to never do it, ironically.
The most terrifying thing you can ever experience in your life is taking a nap and waking up to the screams of Matt playing Far Cry.
It was so funny. Like, we had a couch in the room, and Matt would always be standing, like, 5 inches from the TV. Like, just with the... Like, he just was so focused on it.
Yeah, he would start on the couch and gradually stand up and get closer to the TV every time. It was fantastic.
It's hilarious. So clearly Matt's a big fan of Far Cry games. And so I know he's really excited for Far Cry 6. As am I. You know, I really like these games too. Not to the extent that Matt does, but I've played all of these too, and I really like these games. For those of you that haven't played the Far Cry games, particularly 3, 4, and 5 are the ones that this one's going to be more like. They all kind of follow the same trend. So you end up in an exotic local place with a really abusive or tyrannical leader, and then your goal is basically to try to escape. And so that has kind of always been the Far Cry way, and this game definitely seems no different. Everything that's typical of Far Cry seems to be in this game. And so you are, you know, just kind of a character, a local Yaran in the village, trying to make it through. And so there will obviously be like little areas that you can take over, little like camps and hideouts with enemies. You're trying to stop Anton Castillo. Or no, you are Anton Castillo, I'm sorry. And you're trying to like kind of get, you know, try to overthrow the evil leader, who also happens to be one of the villains, Gus from Breaking Bad, if you didn't know. Though most people can see because like you can literally see it. And so anyway, so I find it very interesting. And so this guy Anton is like a huge evil asshole. And so I don't know, I just find the story really interesting. The gameplay is very fun in these games. They're very free in how you want to do things. You can level up and there's different skill trees, so you can kind of organize your character in different ways. I don't know, I mean, I don't have like a ton I want to say because it's the same as every other Far Cry game, and I don't want to talk about every other Far Cry game. But they have a very unique kind of gameplay to it, and I find them to be a lot of fun. So if you're interested in like first-person shooters, the games are always crazy, and I think that's what I like. I've already read things that they already have like Stranger Things nods with some of the weapons, and they tend to do kind of crazy things. It's a franchise that never has really taken itself super seriously. As is the case with like Far Cry 3, where there's an ending that's like kind of a secret ending where you can just sacrifice and kill all of your friends if you want to. Or like in 4, where you can just end the game in 15 minutes by waiting for the bad guy when he asks you to wait for him. So they always do silly things, and so I really like Ubisoft and how they handle these games, at least. I know they're kind of a iffy company at times, and I know they've done some like, you know, that microtransaction bullcrap with Far Cry, but they're fun games. So if you're interested at all, I'd highly recommend these games.
Yeah. I never really got into the series as much, but they've always looked to be pretty fun games. And I'll be honest, any game that can get Matt to be as invested as that, I think is a special game series for sure. But yeah. Anyway, I think it's my turn, and this is going to be... oh, whoops, that's the wrong one. I'm going to be talking about Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. This game... I'm sorry, I'm laughing right now because... I don't know if I can really take this game. I don't know if I should be taking this game seriously or more as like a meme. But all right, here we go. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl is. I'm gonna try to keep a straight face when I say this.
The next
from
Smash
the
Brothers.
from the ground up, competitive platform fighter. I'm not joking. When I'm talking about competition and actual balance between characters, they've actually discussed that they want this game, or they want to make this game to be appealing to that crowd. And I know what you're thinking. It's Nickelodeon as a platform fighter. How the hell can this be a competitive game? It surprisingly makes a lot of sense for what they're doing with the mechanics of the game. And that's why I don't know how to take this. Mario Party Superstars, I was kind of conflicted in like, well, should I get this or not? This one, I'm all in, baby. I'm getting this game. I want to play it. I want to do videos for the channel of it. This game looks fun as hell. But it's literally like SpongeBob, Sandy Cheeks, Danny Phantom, freaking Nigel Thornberry, like all of them as platform fighters. And not to go too in depth on the stupid like mechanical stuff on there, it actually looks, in terms of the foundation of the game, and I'll get to the polish later, it looks really good. Like the way that you respond to projectiles in the game is good. They make it so you can do a lot of reflecting there. Like a lot of the stages are really inspired. They have a lot of references to like shows that you usually wouldn't see. Like you get to play as like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or whatnot. Funny enough, like there's actually competitive Melee players. Sorry, I wasn't gonna mention this, but there's competitive Melee players that are doing this, that are going to be playing this game competitively in protest because of the fact that Nintendo has screwed them over so much. This is their literal protest game, saying, screw you, we don't care about the next DLC announcement, we're going to play this game. Why? I'm sorry. I'll calm down for a second. The issue that I think this game is going to reach is the game's polish. In terms of the mechanics, in terms of what it's trying to do, and in terms of the structure of the game, it looks really, really good. The online... Sorry, it has rollback netcode. If for you people that don't know what that means, it's way better to play online fighting games with rollback netcode than delay-based netcode. But like the fact that this game, I'll double check, but I'm 99% sure this actually has rollback netcode before Smash Ultimate does. Why? Sorry, I'm not doing a good job of talking about this game because it's just, how is this game existing? But it looks damn fun. The issue again comes down to like how the characters look and everything, but it seems to be a fighting game very focused on aggression and just a lot of wacky shit that can go on. So no matter who plays it, it looks like from a casual base to a more competitive base of players, it's gonna be fun whatsoever. From a competitive standpoint, I don't think there's any way this game's gonna reach the notoriety as like some of the bigger like Street Fighters or the Tekkens or anything. But I think this game is a game that you'll commonly see as like a side event at tournaments because of the fact that it's just that out there game that actually does well competitively, and it's just like, okay, why did they make this? Why is this fun? I don't know. But I'm all in on this game. People who've played it have had really good reviews about it, so.
And at the very least, it'll be very memeable.
Exactly.
I mean, with Nigel Thornberry, I'm picturing his ultimate now, just summoning a bunch of animals running you over, but...
Yeah. You get to play on the Flying Dutchman's ship! What's not to like?
So awesome.
You know when Patrick, like, closes, like, hangs up the phone, I think goes, like, I'm not a Krusty Krab, like, he throws down the phone when he's, like, working at the Krusty Krab?
Yeah.
That's actually a spike in the game.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
His up smash is literally him putting on the trophy hat! Like, literally the trophy... I'm sorry, I'm done.
That's awesome.
This fucking game, man. Somebody talk about their game. I'm just gonna lose it.
Okay. My next game that I want to talk about is one that I actually have already pre-ordered on my Nintendo Switch, being Metroid Dread. It's obviously not my Metroid Prime game that I am still waiting on, but the more I've seen footage of this game, the cooler it looks, and I'm a big fan of, Metroidvania games anyway. So what better way of playing a Metroidvania than playing Metroid itself? So the more gameplay I watch of it and people who have played it talk about it, they're all getting even more excited because the movement is super fluid. There's no stupid tutorials. They just kind of show you a cutscene of like different enemies like upgrading themselves, and you're like, okay, now there's more to worry about. But that's cool. The maps are super big, which is, fun when you're exploring, and they say that they do give you good benefits for exploring, but if you don't feel like exploring, you can just go on your merry way and just power through the game that way. It looks like it'll be a fun game to speedrun if you're a speedrunner, because again, the movement's really fluid, and then they were already talking about how there could be different strategies in making things go a little faster, but there's a high risk, high reward concept that goes along with it, and I'm like, that's always cool. So the more I'm looking at gameplay, it got me just to buy it. I wasn't planning on buying it until it actually came out, and I saw how long it was and how much game actually came with it. But I do want to promote Metroid, so that way they'll get their asses to freaking move on Metroid Prime 4, because I've been waiting on that forever. But it does look like a really fun game. If you're into Metroidvanias, this looks like a solid pickup for sure. And then I saw there's also cool nods to old bosses that no one was really expecting to ever see again. So that's always cool.
Oh yeah. I do think what's really cool about Metroid Dread 2 is they seem to be building off of a lot of like what was being done well, or that was actually received well, because I believe the 3DS was Samus Returns, and they kind of had that parry mechanic that
they do
really
still have a
using.
parry mechanic. Yep.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where it's just like they have a lot of they're building off of like what has worked well, which I think is really cool. So like a lot of the stuff that were, I don't want to say like game defining, but because I hear that parry mechanic was used everywhere, but it seems like that they're just normal things to use in the game, which I think is really cool about Metroid games, because the more options that you have in that vein is always it's always cool to give the player.
Mm-hmm. And you have full control on aiming, so you can aim your gun at any angle, which is nice. When you only have set things, it can kind of get really wonky to aim to, because like if you can only go at a 45-degree angle, then you actually have to be at a specific point in order to actually kill an enemy, and the flying enemies just become awful with that. So they definitely thought their way through a lot of things.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. I believe that's all of our games. Is that accurate to say?
There's like one little game I wanted to give a shout out to, Nick.
All right.
FIFA 22, baby! You thought it was only NHL this month? All you were wrong. FIFA 22 is coming out, and it's coming out hardcore October 1st with all new ball physics and the goalie. And that's
you can see one more drop of sweat coming from all of their foreheads.
Yeah, the sweat has 1% more glistening feature than last year.
Mike, there is actually another sports game coming out.
Oh.
NASCAR 21!
Oh my god, more trailers, baby!
I'm not finding a trailer for NASCAR. Fuck that.
But the cars go with the vroom vroom in a circle.
No, you're getting your FIFA trailer. You're not getting a NASCAR trailer. Anyway, thank you all for joining us. Again, big month for October. Minus the sports games. Those were jokes. We're not serious
Super
about
Robot
this.
Wars 30!
They might have been serious. I don't know. But thank you for joining. There's actually going to be some really fun games that are coming out. So let us know what games you're going to be picking up, and tell us why Patrick Starr doing the ice cream cone dive is the coolest move in Nicktoons All-Star Brawl. Yes, that's a move. Look it up. The game looks amazing. Anyway, but yeah, the words are hard. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.